What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on in to the Brass Ring Media Podcast for Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. I am your host, Zach Haydorn. That over there is your other host, Tyler Sage. Tyler, what's going on, man? Long time no talk. Wink, wink.
Yeah, no free talk.
That's right.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Good to chat some wrestling as always. It feels weird that feels like we've had like a pay-per-view to talk about.
Yeah.
Or to like in the rear view mirror. So it's a little bit until Double or Nothing. So two full weeks without a preview. It's crazy. What are we gonna do?
It's crazy. It's wild that because normally with AEW and with WWE doing all the shows that they do and NXT doing what they do, it's rare that we go 2-3 weeks without a pay-per-view, but that's where we're at, and not a bad thing though, because we can really dive into specific topics and break some stuff down and take your guys' questions and all that stuff. So thanks so much if you're joining us tonight on YouTube. Hello. Please, if you can, make sure to like our video and subscribe to the channel. If you're able to just drop a comment, that helps too. It helps us just get into the old algorithm of YouTube. And so we thank you in advance if you're able to do that. If you're watching us on the RVD Twitter X account, hello to you there. Same thing though. If you can like this and make a comment, it would help out big time. Our live chat is open. We have a situation with the super chats, so they are disabled for today. So that being said, we'll just keep it open and we'll try to take as many different comments as we can, and just kind of have fun with StreamYard being down.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what did Robert say this time? They got us.
Yeah, Robert is always getting us in trouble with the no, nothing like that. Just a tech thing that we're working through. But hey, whatever. Before we get started, and first of all, hello to our Brass Ring Media Gold members. Sean Palikta is here in the live chat. He says, "I'm back. What's up, guys? It's been a bit, Sean. So good to see you." We got Adam Kidd, who's also a gold member as well. He says, "Batman and Robin have entered," and then actually more like Bert and Ernie. I love that. That popped me big time. We also have Andrew H. is also our is a gold member of Brass Ring Media. More on membership here in a little bit. Oh, we got Andrew H. here. He is here.
Yeah,
Heckle and Jekyll, neither of these guys.
And his duo name for us is Heckle and Jekyll. So
hey, I feel like one of us can pass off for Bruce Wayne. Come on.
Yeah, and for Andrew, and he can respond himself in the chat here. I don't understand what that means. I know Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Heckle makes sense. I'm certainly Heckle. So
I guess that makes me Jekyll. Then,
yeah, so. Yes. I guess what does Jekyll mean? Is that like?
That means
that's the nice one, right? Dr. Jekyll, and then Mr. Hyde is the crazy one.
Means it just means tremendous personality, fantastic, handsome-looking gentleman is what.
Yeah, guy who gets the cartoon crows. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully not the ones from Dumbo.
No, I don't think so.
Those are a litlittle questionable, I would say. So.
Here's the thing. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. So crows, Heckle, Jekyll, you got to make it like a wrestling related thing for me to understand.
Yeah. Well, we're like the New Age Outlaws probably at best.
There we go. I like it. Okay, good. First and foremost, before we get kind of into the meat of the show, Sabu passed away on Sunday at 60 years old. He's an interesting guy in the history of pro wrestling, and for better or worse, he was certainly ahead of his time, as far as like hardcore wrestling goes, and was a pioneer in that regard. Being that's who he was and what he contributed to the business, he also had a lot of pain on the back end of his career and a lot of personal issues with drugs and other things like that. So that's sad, and sad that he left. But I do think that there's an important place for him in in wrestling history. Like, it's crazy because, like, I don't know that he's a name, unfortunately, that you'd bring up enough in terms of like the historical impact that he had, but he just was part of just like a tone shift in professional wrestling. Like, even prior to ECW, that was he was a part of that kind of like attitude era-ish tone change in professional wrestling at the forefront of it. And so, you add that in to the hardcore stuff and the high flying stuff, you have a wrestler that really did change the game in a lot of ways, and probably should have made a lot more money than he did as a professional wrestler. But as Adam Kidd says here, 60s is young. It's too young, and it's really really sad. More on some matches and stuff in a minute, but what's your thoughts on Sabu, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, on everything you're saying, high level, I think in a lot of industries, not just pro wrestling, a lot of art forms, I guess, more so than industries, but the trailblazers tend to have the same story that Sabu had, right? Like, influenced entire generations of people after him who made a lot more money than he did. And, that's kind of the choice you make, right? I don't want to even compare anybody, right? But whatever. Some of them made 10 times as much as him that I can't even think the name of right now versus Sabu. Like, who do you want to be as a creative? Do you want to be the person who ushered in a new era, or do you want to be the one who kind of copied him and made more money? I know what I would want as an artist, and that's the Sabu story, not obviously all the personal issues he had and injuries and pain he went through. But, think of your wrestlers, your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, right? It's kind of Sabu, right?
Seriously, yeah.
AJ Styles' favorite wrestler is probably Sabu, if I had to guess. I don't know if he's ever said that, but and whatever, right? Same thing. Like, Adam's got Chuck Berry's a good reference there of like basically starting a whole genre of music, and the Beatles get 1,000 times more credit, and they just covered Chuck Berry songs basically the first couple years, and then made their own sound from that. So it's that whole thing. Sabu the wrestler obviously is an incredible performer and someone that you were worried about every time you saw him. I mean, I don't know. Did you see anything from the spring break stuff before he died?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
So you see stuff like that, and you're like, man, this is tough to see. A lot like the Terry Funk stuff near the end. Just one of those. I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, if you knew him personally, you probably knew that was how he was going to go out, is on a shield, right? Metaphorically, but it's tough to see for sure.
Yeah, it is, and I'm just trying to think of some of my favorite Sabu matches. I mean, the Terry Funk barbed wire match is going to be probably on everybody's list. And let's see, I want to get to this.
Him and Ray.
Him and Ray at One Night Stand is always that one is interesting because let me just take this off for a minute. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for the Sabu match, you got to watch Terry Funk and Sabu in the barbed wire match. I mean, it's gross and it's just nasty, but I mean, it's iconic. And it's what's that?
Was that All Japan or was that an ECW match?
That was ECW. Someone checked me on that, but I believe that was ECW. The other one that I personally have like a crazy memory about is the match, the no ropes barbed wire match that he had with Abyss in TNA. And that's what Boss brings up here. Never forget the infamous barbed wire match with Terry Funk and the one with Abyss in TNA. And why this one has like a special memory for me is that I was in college at that time, and I ordered that TNA pay-per-view. And I never ordered TNA pay-per-views, really ever. But I did at that time. I want to say it was Kurt Angle against Samoa Joe. I think that was like one of the matches, like the main event. And that match, the no ropes barbed wire match, opened up the show. And so I had like a room full of people that never watched wrestling before, like watching this no rope barbed wire death match. And
they were horrified, just horrified at what they were seeing. And even I was like, well, you know, I don't really know how to explain it. And they're like, oh, they're not faking that. And I'm like, no, they're not faking that. Like it was just this memory that I have, and like people thinking like these two guys are absolutely out of their minds, and I'm like, yeah, they both were. And so I just I don't know. I always think when I think about Sabu, I don't know how many people think of that match, but I do, for just how horrified a group of like 10, 20 somethings were in college. You know, he was even able to make them feel something. And you know, I feel like it takes a lot to make a bunch of 20-something-year-old college kids squeamish. So those are two must-see Sabu matches. And then the one that you mentioned, you know, that was an introduction to Sabu for a lot of people that maybe never saw his work before. It was on the One Night Stand pay-per-view. It was against Ray, and he's insane in that match. And it's a fun match. Go ahead. I interrupted you a couple times.
No, I mean I think I was just naming matches. So I mean, there's tons, and you know, tons of clips we're all seeing on our social media, etc.
Yeah.
Let's. Do you want to talk about the current stuff? Or
yeah, I definitely do. So the current stuff, if you guys aren't aware, so Sabu had his last wrestling match, and it was billed as his retirement match over WrestleMania weekend at Joey Janela's Spring Break, which is like the signature GCW show, part of the collective during every WrestleMania weekend. And you know, he didn't look, I mean, once the match got going, you know, he looked like okay in spots, but then there were some social media clips of him in that match just completely botching stuff, landing like head first on a bed of barbed wire, and then you know he died, you know, a few weeks after that, obviously. And there's an interview with Joey Janela that came out on Monday, yesterday, that pretty much indicated that Sabu was almost not able to wrestle in that match. They had to give him the drug I don't have in front of me right now, but they had to give him some essentially a painkiller to get to the ring. Joey Janela found out a few hours beforehand that he wasn't able to really move at all.
Talking about Kratom, by the way.
Kratom, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like a
whole nother thing. It's like a Southeast Asian plant that people take that are, and I don't know, Adam kind of revealed some stuff in the chat. I don't want to like repeat it if he doesn't want to, but that's like a thing for, I know some people have used to get off of opioids, basically.
Opioids, right.
So like that is like so that's kind of like a fine line of like, you know, he's not taking Percocets, but yeah, it's pretty close.
So I don't think
the chat is basically that. So.
I don't think Kratom is illegal.
It's not. I don't think it's in Michigan. Where were they? They were in Vegas, right?
They're in Vegas. Well, yeah. So no, nothing's illegal there. But like, it comes down to it boils down to the question of, should they have let Sabu wrestle that match? Or, you know, because if you watch and read that Joey Janela interview, and I have, because I wrote it up for SI yesterday, like, it paints a picture of a Sabu that's not healthy, number one, and certainly not ready to wrestle a death match like that in front of 2,000 people. And it begs the question, you know, should GCW be held responsible for, I don't want to say his death, because that was, you know, weeks ahead of time. So I don't know that you can make that connection, but I think there is a responsibility that they have as a company and a promotion to not put him out there in those straits, even if it's your biggest show of the year and it's your main event, all that stuff. I mean, you got to draw the line in the sand somewhere. And hearing that interview from Janela, it's like they very much crossed that line and let him walk to the ring and wrestle that match anyway. So I didn't love hearing that. I didn't love reading that. Again, I don't think that you can make the connection, you know, that 4 weeks ago or thereabouts, you know, this match like directly led to his death, but it doesn't change the fact that I think, you know, GCW needs to look at itself in the mirror and not trot out guys to have matches like that, and be more responsible and on the up and up.
Yeah, fine line, right? To be like the last outlaws of wrestling as like your moniker,
Yeah.
and then to have like sensible health and safety protocols too, right? I'm not saying they shouldn't, but sometimes they're in wrestling. People can live the gimmick a little too much. That's probably a case of living the gimmick a little too much. But yeah, I mean, I think you would bring the same energy if we were doing a show. Well, what was the Jeff Hardy match in TNA?
Oh yeah, the Victory Road.
That or Kurt Angle, obviously for many years in a row,
Yep.
probably shouldn't have been wrestling, was out there. So I think you would bring the same energy on that. I'm confident of that. So, I think it's the same sort of thing, right? That's like the benefit of being a bigger company in AEW and WWE, that it's easier to manage that sort of thing. And, if that gets canceled, like if you're in that spot, it's hard to say. For me, at least, I won't speak for you. If I'm putting on that event and that's your big match to sell tickets, et cetera, and it falls through, I don't know. You can probably get someone else to pop in there quickly enough because everyone's in town. But, it's hard to say what you would or wouldn't do if you're.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, and it would be hard to do. Like, I get it. I just think that, like you gotta.
Yeah,
it seemed like it was like a frantic effort to like get him in the ring, which is like, okay, like it's one thing if he's lying to you and not telling you, and you're looking the other way. But this, it felt to me, again, if I'm reading between the lines, that it was like a very hard, and it took a lot of work to get him in the ring, even when he shouldn't have been there. And that's I think there's a difference in Sabu hiding his current health from a wrestling company than it is, oh God, we got to just get this guy in there somehow to do his thing, like a performing animal or something.
Yeah, but it's one of those things too. As a promotion, like, I mean, he just died, so. But it's like, would you be shocked if you're Brett Lauderdale? Is that his name?
Correct. Yep.
Would you be like, what? Sabu is not well?
Oh no.
So that's part of like booking the match in the first place. Like, how much did they pay him? Could you've gotten like Chris Jericho to do this instead, or whatever? Right? There's like so many other like legends that Joey Janela could have feuded with to have a similar style match. That would have been probably a better call.
Yeah.
From a business perspective and a human well-being perspective.
It's speaking of Joey Janela, like I'm kind of over the Joey Janela bit of like this like crazy indie guy. I know there's a lot of them out there. It's not just Joey Janela, but it's just I don't know. I was thinking that yesterday when I was writing up the story. Like, God dang, man! Like Joey Janela, in his own way, is like, God, that guy just beats his body to a pulp every time he's in the ring, and it's just like, man, dude, when in like 20 years, like this guy is just going to be a mess, and he does not have the, or at least I don't think he had. Well, he doesn't have the bank account that makes that worth it to me, and it would take a large sum of money for that to be the case. But he's not McFoley right now.
Yeah, for sure. I was trying to see how old he was too, just to, like, do this, but it kind of ebbs and flows in the indie space too, right? Of like,
it does.
This being like popular, and then that kind of trails off, and then that style comes back too. So I do think we're more in the tail end of that. I mean, that was very like pandemic-y.
Yes.
Tons and tons and tons and tons of deathmatch stuff going on around everywhere. So
yeah. Let's get some chat on this stuff. Sean says here, why would you let him wrestle? That just seems wrong to me. Not trying to judge, but I'm just being honest. Adam Kidd says, I've been clean 20 years. That's tremendous, Adam. Congratulations. That's amazing. Just truly, truly amazing. Sean says here, they should have some responsibility. Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I don't think you can directly tie it like, hey, that match caused him his death. Like, I don't think that, but I do think they have responsibility to still not put him in the ring. So that's a nuance there. Andrew H says, I'm going to need this same energy on Darby, boys. Well, here's the thing. Like, I think that there's a difference. I think that there's a difference when I grade Darby and I grade Joey Janela. to me, there's a calculated difference when I look at the career arcs of those two guys. Like one of them, they're both crash test dummies. But Darby is doing that at a higher level for a lot more money in front of a lot more people with a much higher ceiling in terms of like the money that he can make and the star he can become. So I don't say this as like, I would not, if he was my kid, I would not advise him to do this, but as like just wrestling business guy, if that's what you're going to do, I just think Darby has so much more upside because of just where he works and the character and that Joey Janela just doesn't have. So I don't know. I think it's a little bit of like an apples and oranges thing, my opinion.
Yeah, I think they're pretty similar. So I would be more agreeing with Andrew on that. I also think like not seeing Darby's, not being his psychiatrist or medical professional, certainly seems like he has a chemical imbalance where he's not really too concerned about his own well-being as like a thrill seeker.
Yeah, I would say that's a good. I would say that's a good analysis of that.
Yeah, so like he would definitely be like the guy from Solo, right, where he's free climbing El Capitan, and you're just like, well, this, like you would feel bad if something happened, right? But it's like something's going to happen probably at some point. I think that guy still.
If you keep, yeah, right.
But yeah, I just think that energy is there and more so for Darby, honestly, than Joey Janela. I think Joey Janela just like knows that's the way he can make money in this business in a more advanced state. Can you do that for 10 more years and then figure it out? It's kind of his mindset, I would guess. So,
no, that's a fair point. That's fair. It's fair. I don't know. I just think like, Darby Allin, I mean, what do you think he's making? A couple $100,000 a year?
Yeah. It's probably
plus merch.
Over 250, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like.
When's the last time he took a bump too? So not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. And so it's like, I don't know, when and Joey Janela is probably doing it for what, a couple $100 a night? Like,
yeah, well, it'd be interesting. I would love to know like what that looks like. Does he make more selling merch than he does? Probably the payday is like, what's the payday for Joey Janela spring break? Like, is it like $50,000 at the end of it?
Oh no. I don't think
for an event he puts on with GCW.
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, like that. If he's making $50,000 an event, like
for that one event, I'm saying, not all the events.
Oh, that okay. I was like that one. I was like 50,000.
Yeah, for like
richer than most other guys.
When he's dating,
I see what you're saying. I misunderstood. Yeah, maybe. I mean. Yeah, it could be.
Or whatever. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out there, but it's like, so yes, just throwing numbers at Sean. I just think it's like, could be sneaky more. And like, what is that? I assume they still have that Triller deal, right? GCW does.
Yeah, they still got that.
We're like, yeah, that guy, Brett, does a lot of shows and has to make a lot of money. Has to make enough money to keep it going pretty consistently. So I think some people are getting paid, some aren't, et cetera.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it always depends on who you have on the card, right? Like, if I bet Sabu, it cost a pretty penny to get him to come on. I would think. So yeah, it always obviously depends on all that. But yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I mean, if he's making that kind of cash, it's almost just like, dude, just be a promoter then. Like that's crazy. All right. Well, yeah. But I definitely wanted to touch on Sabu, and there's plenty out there who know more about Sabu than I do, other than kind of just the general stuff. I mean, there's a really great column by Phil Schneider on Crowned that talks about Sabu's career and also lists kind of some hidden gem matches that you can find on YouTube. I'll try to link to it. On the Patreon feed here. So if you want to just watch some Sabu matches from folks who know his career like backwards and forwards, that's a guy that does. And so I definitely point you over to that. All right. Let me set the table for the show here really quick, and we'll take things in a different direction. This is the Brass Ring Media Podcast. If you're checking us out for the very first time, obviously we don't always talk about one specific wrestler like that, but certainly the current event of Sabu's death called for that without question. The way you can view this show and hear this show on a regular basis is right here on the Brass Ring Media YouTube channel. That's the first and foremost. The Brass Ring Media podcast is twice a week. We also have Nocturnal Knockout on Wednesday evenings, and we've got the Kick-Ass podcast on Saturday mornings. And you guys can check out all of those shows live right here on YouTube. So subscribe and hit the like button and turn on your notifications so that you can not miss them. You can also catch all of our live shows, anything that goes live here, and most of the recorded stuff that we put out can be found on our podcast feed as well. So just search Brass Ring Media in your favorite podcast app, and you can check all those out as audio shows. Really easy to do. Just search Brass Ring Media, favorite podcast app, and we'll pop up. Hit subscribe, and we appreciate that. You can also head over to Patreon and check out our membership options. We've got 2 membership options. We have a gold member, and then our regular tier is only $4 a month. You get everything for $4 a month. Every content piece that we put out, you get. There's more perks for the gold members, but you can check that out on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. $4 a month gets you access to our member-only pay-per-view and PLE review shows. We just did one yesterday and posted it for WWE Backlash. About 50 minutes of full analysis of the show, every match, every angle, all of it. So you can check that out. All of our members right now get access to that. You get a member-only podcast once a week, which we also published last week. And then you get access to our Discord community and other fun odds and ends stuff that pop up. So check us out. Patreon.com/Brass Ring Media is how you can do that. Cool. All right. So Tyler, what did you make of the Gunther Pat McAfee fallout last night on Raw? I thought I was going to be right with my prediction when the show started. If you remember last week, you asked me, "Hey, do you think Pat McAfee is going to be out there for commentary on Raw after Backlash?" And I said, "No, I don't think so. I think they're going to sell it. I think they're going to sell it." And then after the match, I was like, "Oh God, they're definitely they're not going to do anything." And then, McAfee's not out there to start the show, and I'm thinking like, okay, maybe I'm going to hit on this one. And then, sure enough, second segment, Pat McAfee comes trotting out. Michael Cole loses his mind, and we are just going to treat everything like normal, I guess, Tyler. So I don't want to lead the question too much here, but what did you think of the fallout to Gunther and McAfee?
Yeah, I mean, besides Gunther winning the match, I think I've been correctly pessimistic and down and crapped all over this storyline. So this was just another bolt in my quiver for that case to be made. And yeah, I mean, all of it I hate. And again, I would really implore you, I know you're against it too, since you were in the building for the pay-per-view, to go back and listen to Michael Cole's commentary and
I know I have to do that.
It makes it so much worse. It was so annoying. It was he's a good guy, but it was coal mine type stuff, him and Jerry Lawler type, but in the opposite. So and then do you want to get right into the Gunther part?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, come on, we're gonna do this again, post-main event, that's episode of Raw too. I was like, oh, is that where Money in the Bank is? I thought Money in the Bank was in LA. And it's no, it's just a random episode of Raw that Gunther's going to lose to Jey again. What is going on here with this and this character, and what is the story here? And he talked, what was even the reasoning there? Because he beat McAfee, he said he talked to Pierce and he gets a random title match against the winner on a random Monday Night Raw. What is going on here?
Listen, when I think about just how this has gone, from the minute they teased hey, we're going to do this, I in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, they're doing this to get heat back on Gunther, right? You had this big long title run, or not even big long, but you had a long title run. Mm-hmm. You tap out at WrestleMania to put Jey over. Okay. Now we're going to start over. Not start over, but we're going to really do a major angle and a major storyline where we can just get big time, terrible monster heel heat on Gunther. And it's like, if you view this feud through that lens and then you execute on it, I think you can look back on it and go, okay, Gunther's in a good spot now. Everybody hates him. Yeah, he worked with Pat McAfee, but he left him a bloody pulp in the ring. No remorse, no anything. And now he's set to go do whatever he's going to do next. That's your argument to do this. But when you look at everything that's happened after the match and in the match itself, what's left? Like, that's my problem with this. Like, I have less of a problem with him facing McAfee, but it's like, you got absolutely nothing out of this. McAfee gains nothing. He's not a regular wrestler for you. He's not going to be Logan Paul, right? He's not going to be a regular talent that you use in matches. So protecting him in any way is just beyond silly. For Gunther, his whole character, his whole everything is about disrespect. The disrespect that he shows everybody he works with because he's so much better than all of them, right? He's the ring general. That's the essence of his character. Except for Pat freaking McAfee, an announcer? Like, what the hell are we doing here with this? Like, it totally undercuts his whole character. He has gotten no heat out of this thing with Pat McAfee. He's weaker because he's respecting Pat McAfee and not guys that have actually beat him, like Sami Zayn, like Jey Uso. I think it just is a god awful way to go about trying to quote unquote repair this heel gimmick of this guy that you'd imagine is going to be a top-ish heel for you. And I guess maybe that's not the plan, but goodness gracious, like, in every way you could have missed on this, I think that they have. Even if you give them the benefit of the doubt for booking the match to begin with. I'll breathe now. Rant over. Go ahead with opposite anything that I said.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I agree with everything you're saying, so I don't need to repeat it.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I thought Gunther was going to lose for a reason, just based on even having this match and knowing that you're not going to obliterate him and make Gunther look like he should. Like, no matter who your announcer is, if you have, I don't know, let's say besides, let's say Daniel Cormier, because he works for the same company, right? And he's like, does announcing for 3 months for you. Like, I think Gunther should beat, in kayfabe, Daniel Cormier, a retired UFC Hall of Famer in his field, should beat him in like a pretty competitive match. Is how you should book that. Maybe the way that McAfee lost. A guy who's literally a UFC Hall of Famer, one of the few guys to be a light heavyweight and in heavyweight world champion. When you're the heavyweight world champion of the UFC, you're probably the baddest human being walking the face of the earth, right? Without weapons. So, to have a guy who's not that go that way, it just like totally devalues everything they're doing. And with Gunther, and now it's exciting for me as a McAfee hater that McAfee's got the track record now of the two guys he's worked with, their careers plummeted directly after that. Unrelated, but Adam Cole, there are certainly there's a BM and a AM for both their careers probably.
Yeah, it's and it really just it frames the question, like, just why do you do this? Like, you don't have a heel star that can work with, or a babyface that Gunther can just wash. Like, I mean, come on. Like, Otis would be better than Pat McAfee. Like, he's a wrestler in the ecosystem of WWE. It's like, it's crazy. All right, Andrew H says here, Pat McAfee's a star. I mean, he is a star. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. But he's not a star pro wrestler. He's a podcast host. And so, yeah. Sean says here, yes, he shouldn't have gone that long with Gunther, and he shouldn't be giving him respect. LOL. Yeah, I had the same problem, Sean. I definitely had the same issue. The same issue with that. I want to just touch on something really quick here. Dirty Dick Flair in the chat talking about being a part of Sabu's team and Sabu's state. Listen, I'm not dismissing that, but I would like to talk off the air. If you have information and are willing to talk off the air and dispute this, like I just want to be able to verify, what you're saying and who you are and all of that stuff. So if you're able to shoot me a DM or something on Twitter, happy to discuss it with you and hear you out on the situation. But I don't want to air that out here live on the show without being able to check on that. So hit me up, Zach_Haydorn. Cool. Thank you. All right. So back to the conversation at hand. You're gonna, I don't know, man, I think your reaction to this was to roll your eyes or laugh out loud. But Gunther is going to take on the winner of Jey Uso and Logan Paul. Is the world ready for Gunther versus Jey Uso fifth time?
I would say I didn't have either of those reactions. I'd say like my feelings on all of Raw last night were pretty much like apathy, or like I didn't feel much of anything on last night's episode.
Yeah, I thought like collectively it was weak too.
Yeah, like which is fine, and not every show needs to be like a banger in that way. But yeah, I mean, it is so strange the way they're booking everything around the Jey Uso orbit. Like Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker are like, we're way better this week, not being as directly tied to that storyline. Gunther's back in it, and Gunther and Jey are in different spots, and yeah, man, I don't know. It's crazy, and it's like, why does that show need, like, am I missing something? That's why I want to bring it up too, like, because it's like a random ass Raw, and like, why is that getting like hyped 3 weeks in advance? Do they need ticket sales on that specific show or something? I don't know. It was just like it felt very AEW like bad AEW like, where Moxley is getting in the face of, I don't know, hang Adam Page, like when he's not over, is basically what this felt like. And they're saying 3 weeks.
I mean, it reminds me a little bit about what AEW is going to do tomorrow, like with Joe, but not as good. Like where you book a television main event way out.
Yeah. And everyone knows like that's like booking this match, the week 2 weeks before Elimination Chamber, because your world champion's not participating and you want to get him a match, and he's going to carry that thing to WrestleMania. Right. That's what that feels like, and everyone knows that sucks anyway.
Well, that's what I said. It's not good. It's just like, I think like fundamentally, like it's fine to like book stuff further out. It's just this is a fifth Gunther versus Jey match. Like,
yeah, which is interesting. It's like I don't think everybody's like on the page of like this Jey run is not good or going to be seen as a good run, and not everybody is like Gunther is like a much lesser character than he was 6 months ago. In like the AEW comparison is like everyone's agrees that the match tomorrow is going to suck. Everyone's over Moxley. Joe is certainly defined at a certain level. So that's like where it feels like more frustrating for me as a fan, is that Jey and Gunther are being booked in a way for me that knows like they're dead characters walking from like a long-term perspective, as opposed to, how AEW is booking them, like, the good things coming on the horizon. I guess that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that Jey, what I like currently about the Jey stuff is I like that he's touching a lot of different storylines at the same time and a lot of other top talents. Because right now he's got something going with Logan Paul, he's got something going with Gunther, and he's got something going with Seth Rollins. So I think fundamentally, like, I like that for your show. Like AEW was like this a while ago too, where you had Paige and MJF and Cope and everybody kind of pointed at the world title. And so I think that's good for just like how the show runs on a week to week basis. I think you want that for whoever the champion is, not just Jey, but for anybody. So I like that. Gunther calling his shot the way that he did for that specific show on that day, man, it just seems to me that like if you were already certain that Jey was going to win against Logan Paul at Saturday Night's main event, like you're even more certain now. Like totally.
Well, he said either. But let's be honest, that's going to be a DQ finish. So don't worry.
Oh God, I hope not. Yeah, I mean, but like, hey, there's nothing that tells you that it will be anything but at this point, or some kind of shenanigan finish. But like, I I don't know how it helps anybody. Like, I mean, to forecast that particular match, like, that one that ruins your Saturday night's main event match. And as far as doing it when they're going to do it, I don't, it makes me wonder if, like, oh no, Andrew, don't put that out there. Andrew says here, double DQ so we can get a 3-way. No, please no. Yeah, and Adam is speaking what I'm thinking, and that is, like, I think you start to see the Goldberg Gunther match start to come together, like on this show. Like, my guess is they've got dates for Goldberg set. That's one of them, and that's going to be a SummerSlam match. Gunther against
Goldberg. So Goldberg interferes and causes Gunther to lose.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I'd be willing to bet a significant amount of money that's how this goes.
How much would Tony Khan pay Triple H to make sure that booking happens? Like $1 million? He'd be like, yes, please do that.
I think if he's watching the show, he doesn't have to pay anything, because I think that's exactly how
it's like you're doing exactly what your competition is, who's like slowly booking pretty smartly, getting characters over. I've always been like more pro AEW than WWE in general, right? I think that's pretty clear on like where my
allegiance. Yeah, but it's fair though
I've spent more time maligning Tony Khan, I think, than any other single human being, because we've too. But it's like, man, like that's what Vince. This is like exactly what Vince would do. This whole storyline is so Vince, and I don't even know if it's Triple H's fault. Like, if he ever gets pushed out, he's gonna have a hell of a podcast one day talking about how The Rock came in and everybody. It just, man, it would be insane, and I do think that will happen too. But like with the current trajectory of every match being a DQ finish or a non-finish, or everyone's protected, for Goldberg to come out, man, and do that, and then a match that no one cares about in any way, shape, or form. Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but like when I look at the tea leaves, I mean, that's all I can think of is like, why else? Why, to your point, like, why do this on that? Why do it on that day? Why do it at all? Like, and I think that's, and I think they think that they can get away with that kind of thing on TV, which they probably can, but I don't think it makes for a very compelling SummerSlam match for Gunther, or Goldberg for that matter. I mean, there isn't a compelling match for Goldberg.
Not one for Goldberg, that's for sure. Joey Janela, maybe.
Joey Janela, yeah, right. There you go. Sean says here, if Gunther wins it won't matter because Goldberg will get a ton of offense. Oh yeah, you can bet. I mean, the only thing that Gunther will have on his side is that he's going to kick out of a lot of Goldberg stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to lose this match, but
I'd say if I was your editor, Sean, I would just have the first 6 words, and then I think that's a fully sufficient.
If Gunther, yep. So yeah, I mean, they've got themselves in a situation.
Yeah, I agree with Andrew on his latest.
McAfee better than Goldberg, yeah. Okay, I agree with you on that too.
Selling makes way more sense to wrestle with McAfee, and I was just railing on it for a week and a half. So,
I mean,
make sure Andrew
we've really set the bar low when we have to start pining.
Yeah, who would you want less than who's Goldberg better than to wrestle Gunther at SummerSlam?
Dude,
because if you said like Akira Tozawa, I'd be like, no, I think that's better because he's going to dominate somebody.
Oh yeah, anybody current is better.
R-Truth would be better because he would like dominate a guy who just like had a hope spot against John Cena. Like, I mean, it is like, I don't know who it would be if I cared about Gunther.
I got one for you.
Okay.
I think I know the answer, but Cope or Goldberg against Gunther?
Oh, I mean, people would be way more hyped if Cope was available.
But I'm asking you because you're not a fan of the old Cope Meister.
Oh man, I would say Cope is worse because he's like he's a lot of that doesn't work for me, brother energy. And I think Goldberg will do a job at a show like that.
Yeah, and Goldberg is also going to only have the match is going to be like 4 minutes if it's Goldberg. It's going to be 30 if it's Cope.
Yeah, if it's Cope, and then he's going to need like a million things to protect him.
That's right. There we go. Okay, we found one. Adam says here in the chat, I want Goldberg versus Big Boom AJ. Oh my God, somebody pierced my eyes with a fork. If that happens, thank you. So yeah, it's tough. But I mean, when I'm watching the show last night and I'm watching everything go down, it's just like, oh man. And then you hear the the news reports of like Goldberg's gonna wrestle his last match this year. It's already locked in. You start wondering.
Yeah, last thing on Goldberg. I'm sorry, it's just such good content.
Oh God.
Would you rather Goldberg wrestle Gunther or John Cena? That's SummerSlam.
No, Gunther for sure.
Okay, me too.
I can't with the John
But
Cena.
it's like you're just gonna do like Legend Killer John Cena, which is so strange. Then I guess that fits more.
It fits more.
What about Gunther, Steve Austin, or John Cena? What's your most desirable match of those three?
I mean, Gunther. I mean, this is coming from. I mean, and it's more so that I just don't want Steve Austin to wrestle another match because I think he's good.
Yeah,
he's good.
It'd be bad. And
it'd be bad. It'd be bad.
That's really your last match. It was like a 3 minutes like move fest. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, you picked the right answer. I just like trying to get people's noodles working out there of like.
And it's not because I think Gunther versus Goldberg is gonna be good. I just want to make sure to put that out there. I'm not advocating for Gunther against Goldberg. I'm just picking the lesser of three evils. More on this, guys. I just love some of the conversation drummed up by Gunther against anybody. Sean says here, though, they need to do better with Gunther. He's such a star. How can you mess these characters up? Tyler, and this is a great question, Sean, because I feel like, Vince McMahon, had just eras of his booking, that worked really well. Mm-hmm. Obviously, and we all know Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, John Cena, to a point, John Cena. But I mean, there's stuff in there that worked tremendously well and was really effective and changed everything and was entertaining and, built lifelong wrestling fans. But then there were moments where you look at what he's doing, you're like, why? Like, what the hell is going on? Why are you doing this when so clearly it's not the right move? And I think for a while, Triple H didn't have that because he was just starting out. And so he got to do all these things and work his vision for the first time, and it's fresh and it's new. And that happens with anybody, taking over a new spot, especially in a creative world like he's in. But is this just that kind of Vince McMahon miss syndrome for Triple H, or is it just a victim of there's too much television and there's too much content, and so we need to fill it with stuff that isn't always great in order to make sure we can fill it all? Or is it just that Gunther is maybe not as high up on the list as we all might have thought or currently think? And I think that there's a reasonable argument for any of those options.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of all that. I also think there's probably some internal, what's the word I'm looking for? Analytics that Gunther does really bad at, and the corporate engine does not get behind him the way that they might with a Jey Uso as an example, right? I mean, definitely Jey selling 10 to 1 the merch that.
Oh,
Gunther
sure, yeah.
So, but that what sort of demographics you're trying to hit, right? Gunther is not a good demographic choice to be that. And as Adam's saying, he's boring. That's kind of what I'm trying to say here. As a character that he is in comparison to all those other characters. And so that goes into it with everything you're saying. I also think Triple H probably just thought hey, this is working. It has been working. Wrestling fans like this character. I can probably coast on his storytelling and he's going to be okay. That's the biggest thing I feel here. It's not okay, I hate Gunther now. I'm going to make him look like an idiot 24/7. I think it just kind of happened through him not being booked in a way that, the IC title, that he was the most protected over guy who was not in the world title scene. And then once he moved up the chain, and there's 8 other guys that are way more important than him for the company, then he just kind of gets set aside. And I mean, I don't really lined up on Gunther anyway. So for what
it's well said though, because I mean, it's a good point. Like when you're at the top of the second tier, you're getting a different kind of attention when you're in the bottom of the top tier, right? When you have to compete with brain space with Cody and Roman and CM Punk and Seth Rollins and Rock, like you're swimming with a different bunch of sharks. And so yeah, I mean, I think that there's something to be. I think it's a really good point. I'm definitely higher on Gunther than you are, and the chat. I don't think he's boring. I think he's a good heel that can actually get heat when you treat him right. And I think he's proven that along the way. I mean, remember like when Gunther first came up, like he was and Vince McMahon was booking him. He was somebody that we would be like, man, this show sucked, but Vince has Gunther right though. Like he's got Gunther on the right track. And it's just like, I think to what you're saying is a lot of validity. Like it's almost like you should like write a column about this, because like I think you found something in that. It's like when somebody gets a promotion, like at their job, like you're here and people think of you as this ex up and coming person. Then when you get dropped into that new slot, you're just asked to just deliver at a high level. You don't get the same attention. You don't get the same coaching. You don't get you just need to like be that top guy. And that could be what's going on here. I think it's a really good point
like
on your part.
He's a character actor who got a leading role in the box office, flopped for like 2 movies in a row. And now he's a character again.
Yeah, right. I think it's a really interesting way to frame it. Well done. God, we should almost end the show right there, because it's just I don't think I can.
Not much else to talk about on this.
I don't think I can top that.
I mean, I like the main event, but
the main event was really good. I mean, literally, my note here is good main event. Like I was just glad that there was no freaking shenanigans, no run-ins, no interference, just a damn match in the main event that somebody wins and somebody loses. That's it. And it was a really good match. Mm-hmm. All right. Last thing before we ride off into the sunset. Next Monday. Oh, here we go. Adam says, write it, Tyler. I will read it and add more meanness where needed. All right. All right. Challenge accepted, Adam. Challenge accepted. Let's see. I want to get to one of Andrew H. Okay, this popped me too. Andrew H. says here, Gunther versus Goldberg's kid would be far better. Have you seen Goldberg's kid? He's like,
where's he go? Where's he go? Like, where's he play? He's like a linebacker or defensive end somewhere.
Something like that. He's
like
huge.
University of South Florida or something.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
Also, Joey Janela's 35, by the way. I finally was able
Okay. All right. All right, last thing before we wrap up here. Money in the Bank. They're going to start qualifiers next week on Raw. I'm sure we'll see him on Raw. I'm sure we'll see him on SmackDown in the next few months or next few weeks. Excuse me, dude. When you read the tea leaves as to like where WWE can go this year, women and men's Money in the Bank holders, what do you foresee at this point in time? They haven't announced any brackets or anything like that or any of the qualifying matches. But when you just look at the landscape of Raw and SmackDown for both divisions and what that Money in the Bank briefcase has meant, over the last couple of years with Triple H in charge, who do you think is in line to get it?
Tiffany Stratton last year.
If you want me to throw you mine first, I can.
Yeah. Also, Tiffany Stratton last year. Who's the male?
Tiffany Stratton, and then it was Drew McIntyre last year.
Where did Drew use it? Did he use it to cash in at Clash of the Castle?
He cashed in, and then I think Punk cost him the title. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Not terribly memorable.
I don't remember when that happened, but I think that's what went down.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, one of them will certainly matter and be a long story, and the other one will get cashed in the same night. It's kind of the cadence of Triple H.
Yeah.
I like sustain 2 Money in the Bank stories. I think it's been pretty obvious. So who is that? I would say like Roxanne is probably his like woman to go to like that's a good way for her to become a champion for the first time. And that's his golden goose. I would guess his new Charlotte from like who he cares about the most and wants to have like a long career with like that arc. And I think it's Braun Breaker. Like that leads then like him and Seth. I don't know if that was yours. I'm sorry. That's a good one. But you tell the same story with Seth, the way he won his first title, and he's like a different version of Seth, but the guy that the company's behind. You can tell that story more than they ever were with Seth, and that's like where they start to falter.
Yeah, I love those picks. I had both of them the exact same. So I'm going to make an argument for two others, though, just to make the show more interesting. I think next to Braun Breaker, I think like looking in Sami Zayn's direction would be a potentially fun road to travel down as a babyface or a heel, or maybe like a little bit of both. Like he's this babyface when he wins it, but by the time he cashes it in, he's a heel, or he cashes in on Jey or something like that, like to turn him fully. So I think they have some potential there if they want to go that route. And on the women, like I really honestly can't give a better pick than Roxanne. Like Roxanne is like maybe Chelsea Green, just for the more so for like the gimmick of it than anything else. Like I think that they could get a lot out of her as like a gimmick. Oh, Andrew H puts out a good one. You can't ignore that. Cody Rhodes definitely, I think, has to be on the list.
Alistair,
maybe, yeah.
Small. I think it'd be horrible, but Triple H likes him a lot.
Triple H loves him. Yeah, and then Bianca Belair, I think that's a good call. Adam too. Having the heel win. The heel type cash in as a way to like fully turn her heel, I think is interesting. So good call on that. Yeah. It was that. Oh, yeah, man. Like, what do you think about that? Like,
who had Alberto Del Rio was the Money in the Bank holder for Money in the Bank 2011, right?
Yep.
I mean,
it sure was.
Obviously, that is you almost have to do Cena in Punk and Money in the Bank. I mean, probably not enough time, right?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, like you'd think that they would just start that. Yeah.
So I don't know. That would make sense. He's a babyface that is heelish enough to make that work and palatable. So is Seth, so is Roman. Like I think there's like two choices, at least. Like I think with the men's you could do like an all-star set of guys, and that's your main event. And one of those main event, Sammy, Braun, Seth can be in the same match and work together. Roman, CM Punk. I mean, that's like
Cody. You put Cody. In there?
Like, all those people are in that match. Is that the first time ever where like all of them could win legitimately?
Yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, and that's open to them. I mean, it's there, it's available to load it up completely. I mean, even Gunther, I guess you could put in that too.
Yeah, he's not in that category.
He's not at that level.
No, definitely not. Maybe Logan Paul.
Oh God, stop it! Stop.
We put Pat McAfee in this.
Yeah, Pat McAfee. Damn it.
If Pat McAfee wins Money in the Bank, hear me out. Then the following Monday on Raw, Gunther beats Jey for the title. That's why they're doing it. And then McAfee cashes in, wins the world title. And then we cancel wrestling after that.
And then John Cena gets his wish and wrestling is canceled.
Yes. and then Cena goes like this. And McAfee was the third guy all along.
Third man. Oh God.
I'm not gonna lie. I'd be hyped as hell for that. I'd be like, this makes no sense, and I love every bit of it.
Well, that would kind of make sense. McAfee, with Rock, I think you could
McAfee, Rock, Cena, Travis Scott.
I mean, that is the faction from hell right there.
Yeah,
seriously.
I know no one's heard that until this moment. That's for sure. That's certainly an original bad fantasy booking idea.
That is, you heard it here only, folks. You heard it
here. Not first, only.
Only. All right, you guys are the best. Thanks for such a fun show tonight. Appreciate it. It was nice to reminisce about Sabu. It was nice to just kind of dig into Raw a little bit, and always, God, just love it. Thank you to everybody who joined in. Thanks to the boss, of course. And I want to answer E's question here real quick. And E says, people don't actually believe Miles Bourne, of all people, can beat Femi for the NXT Championship, right? And I would say that's absolutely correct. Nobody believes Miles Bourne is going to win this match. I don't know why they're doing it. It's a crime.
Here's what I'll say about this. Who is Miles Bourne?
That is the question that you should be saying.
Okay, great.
He is a low card third guy in a faction that are jobbers essentially, and he won a battle royal to earn a shot at the title on a PLE.
I was hoping you guys just collectively, like offline, were like, "Hey, let's give a fake name."
Let's mess with.
Tyler buys it, and I did. Okay, it's a real.
One of these days, I am going to do that.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna I'm gonna work myself into a shoot because I'm not gonna remember that that's a fake name. Because Miles Bourne sounds just about as fake as you could.
Yeah. Is he related to Evan?
No, he doesn't even have that to it. He doesn't even have that going for him.
Yeah, that's just so you know, that's like, what's it been, 20 years since Evan Bourne has been a WWE performer?
Something like that.
Slash Matt Sydal. That's like the half-life of you can recycle a last name is that long.
That's right.
So we're like 19 years and 10 months before we get another Strowman in WWE.
Yeah, right. Except it's just Miles Bourne, Evan Bourne. I mean, I don't know. That had like a.
They're both bad.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say they're not great names anyway. Yeah. But I digress. Yeah. So there you go. There you go. E. There's better matches on that NXT pay-per-view. I'll tell you that for sure. This is not one of them. So don't order it or don't watch it for this one. I can promise you that. All right. Thank you all. We appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, do us a favor. Like the video, comment on it, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It helps us out a lot. And I think you really get some good content. Make sure that you're checking out the shows on YouTube after they drop. Of course, tomorrow night, we got Robert with Nocturnal Knockout, pre-AEW Dynamite, so you can check him out. No one is doing what Robert's doing with pro wrestling YouTube shows. He is really doing something special there with the topics that he's tackling, the content that he brings, the research that he brings to that content. It's unmatched. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure that you do. Again, you can download that after the fact as a podcast as well. Just search Brass Ring Media in your favorite podcast app. Finally, find us on Patreon to check out our membership options. Patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. Yeah, Robert had a little bit of an audio issue that he didn't realize until far into the show, but we got it cleaned up this week. So
it happens.
It happens. It happens. It happens to the best of us. But it's not a reason to not check out the show. And check out membership too. Patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. We thank our gold members, Adam Kidd, Sean Palikta, and Andrew H. Tyler, any final words for the night?
Too much baseball talk in the chat. Let's chill out, guys. It's
whoa. Not a Guardians fan?
No, I am. I'm just saying.
Okay.
There's a lot in there.
There's a lot of baseball.
A lot of Yankees fans that live in Nebraska and Knoxville or wherever.
Yeah, what the heck, you Yankees guys? Like, I don't know, man. I'm a White Sox
real man to be a Royals fan. If you're geographically close to them.
Both my teams suck right now. Yeah. Orioles and
I didn't even be able to watch the Cavs because I saw it was close to halftime when we started the show. Let me see. I didn't.
Do you want to know?
Yeah, they're down 6 with 2 minutes left. Yeah, their whole team's injured. So it's congrats on your Pacers Knicks finals in the East because of injuries for everybody. So.
Dude, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but and it's not because I hate the Pacers or anything, but that Knicks team is fun to watch. I'm not a Knicks fan, obviously, because I'm a Bulls fan. So it pains me a little bit, but they're kind of fun to watch. Jalen Brunson is a maniac, and Tom Thibodeau is out of his damn fool mind.
Yeah, well, someone's going to get hurt on that team because they'll play 52 minutes in a 48-minute game. Anthony Edwards will win a title this year for sure. So he'll be the new face of the league. The American face of the league, and then Giannis will join some team, and then they'll be annoyingly good for 2-3 years.
Giannis to the Bulls, maybe?
Okay,
you don't got to laugh so dismissive. God damn.
He really wants to play with
Modest Buzelis. He doesn't want to play with him?
You got it. Another Euro.
Josh Giddey.
I I got bad news about Josh Giddey's.
I'm going to go drink after I suggested that.
Yeah.
It's awful. All right, you guys. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you for another edition of this show on Thursday afternoon. It's the Brass Ring Media Podcast. I'm Zach. That's Tyler. Have a great Tuesday. See ya.